All right, let's continue with our Afcon update. We've got Jide Olaniran, a sports analyst from Lagos, Nigeria. We're delighted to have him. Jide, welcome to Sports Scene. Thank you for taking time to speak to us. Well, let's start with football. Let me kick off with football, and quite simply, let me ask you a very simple, albeit rhetorical question. Is Cameroon ready?
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. I think Cameroon is very ready. Of course, right now, there's no doubt because we're just counting down just a few days to the tournament. The big guns in CAF already have relocated their office to Cameroon, where everything is, they're beginning to make sure that that everything is okay as they begin to anticipate the commencement of the tournament. The list of the referees is out. Every other person that will be handling one thing or the other, they're already putting the list together. And when you talk about in terms of infrastructure, in terms of protocol for everything, because from reports that we are getting and from signals from CAF also, it appears that they are ready. They want to get the tournament going. It's long overdue. The postponements has been, of course, it has suffered enough postponement, but this time around, it's going to be a reality.
All right, Jide, I hear you loud and clear. Cameroon is ready. The officials are ready. Football is ready. I hear you loud and clear. That brings me nicely to my second question. The latest COVID variant has thrown a dark cloud over football, and everyone is talking about it. Will the European clubs release their star players for this significant African football event? From your perspective, how do you see it?
They have no choice. Talking about the European clubs, they have no choice. Don't forget that we've seen tournaments. Euro, there was Euro 2020 that was played in 2021. There was no issue whether the clubs were going to release or will allow their players play in Euro, even though it was off-season. But there was no dark cloud over it. Why will it be Africa this time? Is it because the tournament will be going on side by side some of the leagues, the top leagues where African players play? But that shouldn't be the issue because African Cup of Nations is a FIFA-sanctioned event, is already in the calendar, and there are laws already that has to do with when there are conflicts like this, and the law supports country, especially when there are conflicts between nation and club sides, especially for competitions that are sanctioned by FIFA. That means the nation takes precedence, and I don't see why most of these clubs are already crying wolves where there is none. These players are African players. Of course, they already know, in some of them, it is even in their contract before they sign or put pen to paper for most of these clubs that when the national team calls, we have to answer. So the issue or the story or the fears that's been raised, the doubt that's been raised about whether some of these clubs will release their players, it's unfounded. It is unfounded, and I don't see why they want to do that, because this is the biggest competition in Africa, and every African player will want to play here. So already I'm beginning to get the signal that some of those players already have hands off. They are ready to release some of those players.
All right, that sounds like good news. Let's talk about the teams now. I know, Jide, I know you're a Super Eagles fan. I know that without a doubt. Well, the Super Eagles and the Equatorial Guinea squad have released their coaches 1 month before the competition. Will that affect their performance?
Well, wow, that's a tough one, really, because most times we've got 3 of those nations that will be participating at the Nations Cup that have fired their coaches. Sudan fired the coach, the Silly National, that's Guinea also. They have replaced their coach with an interim coach. Same for Nigeria. The good thing about this is that all three national teams, they've had to replace foreigners with their local coaches. And you know, there's something about there's this reservation that people have about local coaches here, that will they be able to perform? But I know that their work is cut out. They have their work cut out right now as they head to the Nations Cup, because they want to prove a point. The reason why the other coaches former coaches were fired was because the results weren't coming. And for Guinea, they have zero patience for, especially in Guinea, they have zero patience for coaches that are not performing. In the last 2 years or 3 years, they've had about 3 coaches. That's an average of 1 coach per year. So that shows that you have to perform. So they have an ex-international that is in charge. He's seen it all. He's played in most of the top leagues. Talking about Diawara, the Kaba Diawara is a fantastic player. During his playing days, he's seen it all. He will be in charge of Guinea. For Sudan too, they've replaced. There's a home-based coach that they've replaced their former French coach with French manager with. Back here in Nigeria, a former international who's been to the African Cup of Nations before, a Super Eagles former captain. He's won a bronze medal at the African Cup of Nations, Austin Eguavoen. He's even the technical director of the Nigerian Football Federation. He has been appointed in the interim. So I feel that the players are the critical point here. If the players put their mind to it and they are ready to work with the new gaffer, I think you know, the sky is the limit. They should be able to achieve if they put their mind to it. It's about the synergy between the coaching crew as well as the players. If they are determined, I don't think the skin color shouldn't affect. I don't think so.